nella professione cristiana e nella organizzazione.
On the 27th of June 1974, after having been petitioned by the Ukrainian Catholic Church, after consulting the Catholic Church in Canada, seeing that the pastoral needs were obvious, Pope St. Paul VI canonically established the Ukrainian Catholic Eparchy of New Westminster. It was a vast territory which included the province of British Columbia, the Yukon Territory, and a western portion of the Northwest Territories. The Eparchy of Edmonton ceded the pastoral care of this region to the new bishop of the new eparchy, Bishop Jerome Chimi, OSBM, who was consecrated and enthroned on the 5th of September 1974 at the newly designated Cathedral of the Holy Eucharist in New Westminster.
Although some historic research suggests that Ukrainians may have made their way to British Columbia to take advantage of the gold rush in the 1870s, the Ukrainian Catholic presence in the territory of today's eparchy of New Westminster can definitely be documented back to when Basilian missionaries made contact with Ukrainian immigrants in 1904. The Ukrainian Basilian fathers, who had only started establishing themselves in central Canada and Alberta, managed to send a missionary, Father Anton Strovsky, to British Columbia in 1904 to connect with members of the Ukrainian community who were already working in the mines and operating their own orchards.
Besides Father Strotsky, the Eparchy of New Westminster is grateful to the Basilian Fathers who contributed so much to the growth of the Ukrainian Catholic presence in British Columbia for some 120 years now. They especially developed the parish of St. Mary's in Vancouver, but they also engage in mission activity throughout the Lower Mainland and other parts of the territory. Of course, the first two bishops of the eparchy, Bishop Jerome Chimi and Bishop Severin Nikimishin, were chosen from the order of Saint Basil the Great.
Aside from monastic missionaries, many dedicated secular priests, Canadian-born and from abroad, also devoted themselves to serving God's people wherever they settled throughout the territory of the eparchy, long before and ever since it was established. Names of fathers like Belek, Galanik, Hanashevsky, Olson, Sabara, and the Studite Stek are also a few of the dozens and dozens of dedicated priests who were fondly remembered by people whose lives they touched. Also, it is important to acknowledge the sister servants of Mary Immaculate, who were already visiting British Columbia in the 1920s, teaching catechism and religion classes throughout the province. They especially became involved with the new eparchy right from the beginning, working with youth and various organizations like the UCWLC and the UCBC. They facilitated missions and enhanced the life of parishes. To this day, the sisters participate in parish events, lead liturgical services, maintain reception of the chancery offices, and serve as members of eparchial councils.
The eparchy was blessed by visits of several prominent church leaders over the years. Metropolitan Andrei Sheptetsky, Bishop and Marcher Blessed Nikita Budka, the hero and confessed Patriarch Yosef Slipy, the head of our church Cardinal Miroslav Ivan Lyubachivsky, and Cardinal Lyubomir Huzar visited the eparchy of New Westminster. His Beatitude Sviatoslav Shevchuk also visited the eparchy in 2012. At that time, he blessed the Bishop Jerome Eparchial Center, which had been newly renovated by Bishop Kenneth Novakovsky. Speaking of church leaders, our eparchy also provided a few. Among them are Metropolitan Lawrence Huitsuliak of Winnipeg and Bishop Paul Chomnitsky of Stamford, who were born and grew up within our eparchy.
Of course, many of our parishes preceded the establishment of the eparchy of New Westminster in 1974. St. Anne at Mount Cartier and Saints Peter and Paul in Greenrod were the first churches built in 1922 and 1924 respectively. St. Mary's in Vancouver, served by the Fathers of the Basilian community, has grown from its early missionary pastoral activity into an inspiring campus of facilities as well as the large modern church. Many other parishes soon blossomed immediately after with the Second World War. Over the years, a number of our parishes faded away into the coastal mists. However, with the influx of newcomers from Ukraine over the past couple of years, new, hopeful centers of pastoral activity are appearing on the map. The Comox Valley, Maple Ridge, Abbotsford, among others, are now places of pastoral outreach. God willing, we will soon be able to offer pastoral services to those who have settled in the northernmost regions of the eparchy in the Yukon and Northwest Territories.
The celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Eparchy of New Westminster is a wonderful opportunity for all of us together, the faithful, the clergy, and the friends of our eparchy, to refresh ourselves in this Jubilee oasis by reflecting on our past and assessing where we now find ourselves. Then, let us take up the challenge of continuing the spiritual pilgrimage into the next 50 years of living and growing in our faith, and by the grace of God, sharing it with whomever we can. May the Lord inspire us during our Jubilee year to wisely and boldly plan for the journey forward with Him, His Blessed Mother, and all the patron saints of our eparchy.